And it's on.
Hi, Facebook fans. Hey, we recently asked what questions you would have for me as the owner of the company, and several from our Facebook friends have submitted questions. So I'm just going to read some questions and give you my answer. So the first question is, what have you not done yet that you would love to do? Well, I have to say the ongoing joke around Taylor Studios, and it's not a joke to me, is we need to design and build a job that has something to do with horses. We need a big horse job. So we always want to win those. So that's I want to do a job around horses. So that's a big one. And the other thing that's on my to-do list, I'm not going to say I would love to do it, but I want to write a book. And so I think the first one might surround Taylor Studios in some way, and what we've learned over the years, and maybe a pictographic book that shows you some of our past projects. So that's on the to-do list too. But if you know of any museums that have horses as their theme, please send them our way. That would be a dream come true. All right, so the second question is, what was the most challenging exhibit that you are most proud of completing? And I guess that's hard because obviously we love all our clients, and there's just a lot of great stories we've been able to tell. But I think one that stands out for me is probably the Gettysburg Cyclorama. So the challenging part, well, first I'll tell you the story. There was a pre-existing mural that was actually painted in the 1880s, and then the National Park Service built this new building to put that into. And so they had to refurbish that artifact, which was the mural, and it was huge. And so then we had to create the thematic elements, what we call ground form, that would match that mural. So unlike a lot of our projects where we're matching nature, we actually had to match the mural and make the transitions from a road into the mural look natural, or a well that matched up to the mural to look natural. And so that was challenging in itself. And then it was just a huge project. So I wrote some statistics down. It was 9,341 square foot of diorama. That seems weird because, like, why would square footage be odd? But let's say over 9,300 square foot of diorama, which we ended up having to break up into 565 individual pieces, which we then put on 11 semis to ship to Gettysburg, and then put it all back together like a puzzle, so we had to map all of those pieces out, make sure the trucks came in at the right time with the right pieces. And at the time the site was completely under construction, so we usually like a construction free zone when we do our work, but everybody was building. People were still painting the murals, and it was just sort of a chaotic mess. I guess I shouldn't say that. Actually, the person that was the overarching project manager on the project, I was so impressed with this guy to manage such a large project. So talk about a challenging project. That was challenging. Yet, wow, we got to be a part of telling us a story about our nation that is just foundational, and the biggest battle we've ever had here in the United States. And this was telling the story of day 3 of the Gettysburg battle. So I'm just like, wow, we got to be a part of our country's history. So I would say that would be one of my favorites. I would say there's many favorites, but that was a pretty darn cool project. Obviously other ones, I prefer to be part of the design build process, but often we partner with many people in the industry, and we partner up and get those kind of great things done. So there you go. Okay, the third question was, how do you keep your passion for your work alive? And I think maybe the answer to the previous question is part of it. I mean, look at what we do. Holy cow. We tell these stories about nature and history and grand people and grand things, and it's artistic and it's creative. So that's a lot of it. Just the services and the product that we make is just a really cool thing. Of course, now as a larger company and as the CEO role, I'm not in the weeds on all the projects. I have to be and not do, and I just have to hire really, really talented people to do all this work. So I gotta say, as a CEO, I think people don't maybe look at my Facebook post and think I lived a charmed life, but I sleep, eat, and dream this company. It's a 24/7 job, and managing that many people and trying to keep people happy and productive is not an easy gig. But I'm a very driven person. I love a challenge. There's always things to improve when you're a CEO. So So yeah, I think that's the answer to just being passionate about what you do. What's the alternative? If you're not passionate about what you do, you're going to be sit around and be glum. So I want to be passionate about what I do. I have a good attitude, and that's the way to live life, right? So there you go. The last two questions are similar, so I'm kind of going to read them both, but and because they have sort of the same answer. So I'd like to ask Betty what goes into superb storytelling. What are the essential elements that make interpretive writing powerful and effective? And the second one was also, how do you write envision stories with clients at Taylor Studios? And so what the thing that we do is called interpretive planning. So we use a sort of a process approach to storytelling. But in interpretation, some of the key elements of good interpretive storytelling is to make sure that the story is relevant, that it's organized, that it's captivating, and that it's thematic. And so those are four key elements to good storytelling. And I would say interpretation is about provocation and not education. So you want to get an emotional response from your visitors and make sure they have an emotional reaction to an object. And so therefore, telling a story about an object is going to make it more impactful emotionally for the visitors, and that kind of thing. So oftentimes our clients already have some ideas about theme or the story that they want to tell. Like for instance, the Kenosha project that we just announced the grand opening to, they knew they wanted a Cabinets of Curiosity theme that they could display a huge part of their collection. So really we are often just helping our clients through a process to bring that story together in an organized way that's cohesive and thematic. And we actually have a group of people down in Decatur, Illinois this week having that workshop where they're doing that. And they'll come up with a central theme. Maybe in this first week we won't get to a sub-theme and storylines, but we basically help them organize the story. And then if you go to an exhibit, you'll see that there is a graphic hierarchy in how you tell the story. There might be color coding that tells the story. Maybe that's like wetlands, woodlands, prairie. It's also sort of like the mission of a company when you write a central theme. You want to stay on mission, so you don't want to throw a polar bear into a prairie. So it's really just sort of helping our clients along. They know their story. They know their facts way better than we do. We help them bring it into a story format. So hopefully that answers those two questions. Thanks for asking questions. Appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed this.